You are, it seems, a man of many skills. A rare combination.
Over the last month on Twitter, I've seen tons of begging and other forms of people literally embarrassing themselves when it comes to beta codes. And you know exactly what game I'm talking about if you're even tuned into this podcast. I'm talking about Madden. Now, last year, Madden 23's beta, if I remember correctly, was an open beta. I don't think anybody had an issue with that. You know, I like the fact that EA decided to go with the open beta format as it allowed people like myself, though I didn't have enough time to really mess around with the beta. You're able to, you know, test the different modes within the game and give your feedback. Now, with that being said, I think the beta, especially for Madden, is stupid. While you're able to play all the modes, not all the modes are accessible the second you download it. Last year, you had to wait for a code in the email. Like, nobody wants to sit there and wait in an email, wait for the email, keep hitting refresh, over and over and over in order to get something. The other games are doing a lot better with their quote-unquote beta testing. MLB The Show, how they've done theirs is really honestly more of a stress test of the servers, and that's really how I've seen it for any other game that has even remotely attempted this. 2K doesn't even bother with a demo. I mean, 2K tends to be pretty hush-hush about literally everything. Patch notes, they don't say much. You have to literally hunt down anybody to see what they may have fixed or adjusted or tweaked or whatever it may be. And I understand that when you have a game with a bunch of different sliders, you're going to have a lot of different interpretations of what has been fixed and what hasn't been fixed, especially from the type of people who enjoy labbing out a game, you know, trying to test things out, which, I mean, honestly, I think you'd need more like a dev kit in order to even be able to lab for real, to see what has been fixed, see what has been changed. And I'm sure none of us out here even have that, unless you work for said game company or you work for said console company. And you would think with a lot of AAA sports games and the companies in which they come from, you'd get more of that. You get more transparency of, hey, we changed this, especially because these, you know, they'll hype up, hey, yo, we made this many $1 billion this year, or you'll find out from wherever you get your gaming news, oh, you know, according to this and this report, hey, this game made X and X $1 billion or X and X $1 million or whatever it may be. And you like to think that a lot of that is going to go back into the game. It usually doesn't in the way maybe a lot of people who might listen to this podcast might think it does. I don't have any actual proof of that. Maybe if one of y'all, you know, are in touch with any dev or something like that works with one of these companies, hit me up. Like, by all means, I'd love to have them on. But it's just absolutely disgusting how I see on Twitter, and I've seen it over the years, people will literally beg, you know, plead content creators or people who somehow are in the know and happen to have quote unquote beta codes. Oh, hey, retweet and like this, and I'll choose somebody at random in order to get this beta code. It's like, yo, we shouldn't have to go through that. One of the great things SDS does is, listen, here's the beta test, especially in the last like 5 years. I think MLB 18 might have been something where you got invite only. I think 18 and 19 were invite, and after that, they basically were like, listen, it's out there, it's open. Now, granted, it is very limited in scope in what you can do. The past 2 years, you've been able to test out co-op, and obviously you would be more or less testing out Diamond Dynasty, which, I mean, is fine. I mean, yes, you know, Sony San Diego, as they've included more and more consoles into their ecosystem, into how, you know, people are playing this game. It went from PlayStation to, you know, Switch to Xbox, and now we've been a couple years on all three at the same time. Again, I like the fact that it's open. All betas, I feel, should be open. You know, the feedback is open. You want to try to get this to as many people as possible. Now, granted, these betas, these server tests, they're all marketing. Granted, the games may be anywhere from it's kind of finished to it's basically finished, and they just have the set date, and they may tweak some things here or there. I think a lot of the communities that play these games, which, let's be honest, there are a lot of people who only play different parts of the game. Myself, I tend to be, obviously, franchise. That's what I do. I also play career modes here and there. I haven't played Road to the Show in a couple years. I haven't liked the way that it's been done, and honestly, you haven't been able to test that out in the beta, which usually the beta / server test is about a month and a half before the game's release. Madden, I got a beta code last year in 23, nothing this year. You know, I didn't even know when the sign up was, and you would think I'd have these kind of things on alert. I don't, because I don't believe in having to freaking wait and refresh my email 1,000 times. My email's like 20 years old. I use it, at least that email, the email I'm referring to, I use it for like Amazon and crap. I don't really, like, I'm not checking it like that. Like, I think by the time I got my beta code, it was only a couple days before it was over with, and I worked that weekend. Like, that's absolutely stupid how the beta had been out, because as of this recording is June 29th, 2023. I believe the beta started June 1st or 2nd, something along those lines, somewhere around that first weekend in June. And people, like, you would think, oh, they're going to send out the codes all at once. No, they're sending them out in waves. Not only were they sending them out in waves, they were opening up the different portions of the game at different points in times. Like, I thought you wanted as much feedback as possible, because if you don't want that much feedback, this is literally a demo, and you're marketing. You're trying to get as many pre-orders as possible, and it ain't much more to it. And I wish y'all would be more transparent about it. I wish y'all would just be, listen, hey, this is a demo. Listen, we just trying to see how y'all like the game, blah, blah, blah. And feedback, you know, we'll send, or maybe not even have to send a survey. Go to yada yada site, and you can fill it out and give your feedback. Now, for the smaller teams, and I'm not even talking SDS, I mean like maximum football, like varsity high school football, like Legend Bowl, things of that nature, like small dev teams, yes, they should have a closed beta. And because, well, there's only but so many people working on this, and you want to try to decipher the feedback here and there. But for big companies, like, come on, I'm pretty sure you're doing, you know, a lot of these surveys are being filtered through. Hell, they're being filtered through filters. Let's be real. They've been filtered through filters to, you know, try to get an idea what those numbers are. And anything we type up, unless it probably triggers a keyword that you guys might be specifically looking for, I wouldn't expect there to be a ton of human eyeballs that are truly like, all right, hey, oh wow, this person brings up a good point. Because you guys pretty much, you know, improve your games based on, all right, here are the top 3 things people are looking for. And that's fine. I get it. The dev cycles are not that long. They really, SDS just proved this not that long ago. They said, hey, it's about 8-9 months. That's fine. I get it, because you still got to test your game. You know, it's a reason why Maximum Football it hasn't been out. It's why their beta of the sort, it got pushed to the end of the summer, early fall. It's why a game like Varsity High School Football, where we're just seeing screenshots. If you're a patron, I get a bit more information because I'm a patron, as opposed to somebody just following them on Twitter. People on staff, they usually take a lot longer to put their games out. They're not usually crunched by the year-to-year cycle, though I do understand investors, they put their money in, they want to see, you know, a product go out and, you know, they get their return, or at least know that their money is going to something that is maybe fresh, or at least their money is being used properly, in the sense that the year-to-year releases of games like 2K and Madden, they kind of have to. One, because they contractually have to. The smaller game companies do not have to do that. Maximum Football did try that for a couple of years, ran into some issues, really more so due to the pandemic, hence why we didn't get a game after 2020 and some other things. But it gives them more time to test out said game, to really fix the bugs that might be legacy bugs. Madden don't really got time to do that. They will try to, chisel and hammer as they can, where it makes the most sense. Otherwise, usually a lot of the bugs that are in the game are not that big of a deal within reason, so long as they're not triggering more than like if they're not triggering every game that is played, fine. If it's not something that can be exactly replicated in order to really weed that out, it usually just, all right, cool, push it along, people going by, it's not that big of a deal. For the smaller game companies like Metalhead, they just put out a second patch for Super Mega Baseball 4, and oh my god, what they fixed is ridiculously long. Like, granted, they are backed by EA, but EA's pretty much let them do their own thing, and Metalhead has done a damn good job. Follow me on all the socials. If you're on YouTube, sub to the channel. If you're listening to this to any podcast app, do follow, or whatever the equivalent of ensuring that you can get this podcast when I release it. I've tried to put it out every week. I kind of delayed this one on purpose just because I wanted to make sure the beta was over. I did not play it this year, but do follow me on wherever you listen, wherever your eardrums end up being. Follow me on Twitter at State Franchise. I'll let you later. Peace out.